Welcome back to Champion News Talk Radio, brought to you by championnews.net. This is Carol Parisi. Today, our founder, Jack Roeser, and myself are speaking with Tea Party favorite Congressman Joe Waslh. And we were talking about jobs. And clearly, America needs jobs. So how do you feel that the Republicans in Congress are, what kind of policy can they put into place to help perpetrate that?
You know, in so many ways, this next election should be the easiest election in our lifetime because you've got such a divergent point of view. This president genuinely believes that that thing called government is going to stimulate the rest of us and create jobs. We Republicans in the House believe in the exact opposite. Government needs to get out of the way, because the magic that is America is the people like Jack Roeser, yes, with a dream and a vision, and away they go. And all you want your government to do is create an environment where it's easy for Jack to do what he did. And every single regulation we pile on top of companies prevents that. You've got a government that passed a piece of healthcare legislation, and every single member who voted for that legislation, there's no way they could tell you how much it's going to cost. So you're expecting businessmen to understand how that's going to cost a month, a year, or two down the road.
Right.
And that's just one piece of legislation. Right. So they're sitting on their hands, they're not growing, and they're not hiring.
Joe, you brought up a very important point when you talk about the fact that Obama passed so-called Obamacare. Well, if you want an example of what he did, all you have to do is look at the education system. We've got a really expensive system that's doing a really lousy job nationwide. We don't stand well on an international standard. One school or another may be better than a neighboring one in the United States, but on an absolute scale of what it takes to compete internationally, our schools stink. And I'll tell you, as a businessman, we give one test to people that come to our door, and that's a 6th grade arithmetic test. Only 20% can pass. We give them twice the time, and we take the 5th grade level, and with that we can get 50% of the adults that are coming to our business, and our business employs a lot of people as engineers, managers, and all the way down to people, not down to, but the good folks that are working on the dock and the floor. It's a cross-section of America, and they haven't been taught even arithmetic in the schools, let alone Americanism. And with that horrible example in front of us, at extremely high cost, he wants to do that to our medical care. Well, I'll tell you, I don't want some stinking bureaucrat giving me the treatment that he thinks I should have. I want my doctor. I don't want a bureaucrat.
Jack, the solution to our schools is simple, and we will never, ever, ever improve our public schools unless they're forced to compete. And the only way you force schools to compete is to empower the consumer. And the consumer in this case is the parent. And until we get to a point in this country where we allow parents to choose where their kids go to school, public, private, religious, or home, the public schools will never be forced to improve. And the evidence shows, the evidence is clear, where we've experimented with this reform, school choice, public schools get off their rear ends and they start to improve because they understand they're losing parents. We've got to get there. In the inner city, as you know, these schools are prisons. And in the suburbs where we pat ourselves on the back and think we have great schools, baloney, because compared internationally, they're not near the top of the pack.
But you can take a look at Wisconsin. Wisconsin's got some freedom now, and they've got freedom of choice to shop for other healthcare services. And all of a sudden, the unions are coming in to try to be competitive, and we find out that they were charging an awful lot more for the healthcare than what they really needed to.
And the biggest impediment to school choice is who, Jack? It's the teachers' unions, plain and simple.
Well, it certainly is. The IEA, I've called the enemy of the Illinois Miseducation Association. I've called the enemy of the Republic, because what do? They're screwing up the education of the kids. They're spending an immense amount of money in order to do that. They're pouring a ton of money into the Democrats, who are giving us all kinds of bad stuff. So our money, our tax money, is being used through the teachers' union without regard for the benefit of the teachers themselves. They're turning that money into all kinds of money for the Democrats. Madigan downstate, he and his daughter have each gotten over $1 million in recent years from the teachers' union. So the financing of the juggernaut of politics in the Democratic Party, a lot of it has come out of the teachers' union. And you've got to take those rascals on.
And Jack, rank and file teachers would be so much better off in a competitive environment. They're captive to their unions right now.
1 in 3 teachers prefer not to be in a union.
Yeah.
That's a recent poll.
When you can't reward them for good teaching.
The reason the
because
school
of these union
system
rules.
works at all well is because of the individual integrity of many teachers.
Yes.
Who themselves care about their trade and what they're teaching these children about everything, the basics and about America. There's a lot of wonderful teachers.
Yep.
But the system stinks.
Yeah,
And it's holding them back. It's holding all of the kids back.
They need to be freed up. And a lot of the rank and file trade union guys are so upset with what their leadership's done in electing Obama and contributing to this miserable job climate. A lot of these rank and file union guys are going to vote Republican next year.
There's a lot of people, you are very correct, that are going to be changing their vote because the hope and change thing didn't work so well from them. You know what? Let's talk about elections when we come back.